My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. This is criminal summoning, and this is the same 280 North Lemon Apartments. This is the Wells Fargo. I'm showing you the fake sun that's over this same plaza at 7:56 in the morning, where UPS is stalking, hovering over anywhere over here, but flying right in alignment to me over this Wells Fargo, 7:56 a.m., where I'm showing you yesterday at 9 a.m. the fake sun's in the same position. You can look at my pictures and you'll see these trees where the fake sun's hovering over the same tree. What they are doing with regard to the elements of monitoring and the demonic criminal pattern of conduct is they are stalking with light, and at the moment that I am arriving at the downtown Ontario luxury apartments, the demons sound sirens. American Medical Response and Ontario Fire Department are maintaining a method of light activity. This is occurring whereas the fake sun is the method of the demons who are pacing around. This is what they're engaging using emergency vehicles. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging what is gang stalking in furtherance of murder. AMR, American Medical Response, co-conspirator of murder. Ontario Fire Department, co-conspirator of murder. You'll recall the entity that is, as you can hear them slamming doors, these are demons monitoring together. 56269 Victor 1 is crossing path. This is psychopathic pacing while the City of Ontario maintains light activity. And what you're understanding is this is the parking garage where they're pacing in and out, and the engineered lights appearing across the ceiling inside of the parking garage. Impossible light. And impossible lights on the floor, on the inside of a parking garage, impossible light, while the entity has the fake sun over me. They are providing what is another iteration of stalking in the environment with light activity, while all the demon-possessed people of the state are pacing all around. Okay, and that's the entity that's engaging in what is gang stalking in concert with the Ontario Police Department, who are always being documented and prosecuted, while the City of Ontario maintains criminal surveillance and furtherance of my murder. The entity's engaged in this, and they're doing so at what is 9:37 a.m. The evidence already shows the entity has the fake sun from sunrise till sunset at the Ontario Town Square. The fake sun setting as I'm walking out of the OVITT Family Community Library after 4 p.m. The entity having the fake sun over the OVITT Family Community Library as early as 8 o'clock. It's at every hour, 9:10, and this is light activity. 9:03:86 P2. This is psychopathic pacing, and Securitas is gang stalking. He's going to prison. He's monitoring now. He's monitoring on September 28th when they engaged in kidnapping with the Ontario Police. This is the pattern of conduct at the downtown Ontario luxury apartments. While they're driving in and out, it's still the same psychopathic pacing. This is the light activity maintained, and the demon-possessed drive in and out of the parking garage crossing path, just like he is right now. P.O.C. Just want to break that down for you. I will attach video with regard to what the entity is doing while the fake sun is over me, and they're engaged in the same psychopathic pattern of conduct. Certifiable conduct. Stalking in planes and helicopters. Certifiable conduct. Stalking as a population. Certifiable conduct. Stalking with light. And they're all engaging in this together. P.O.C. It is currently 9:38 a.m. P.O.C. The plane activity is audible activity, and it's physical stalking in the path. And there is nothing taking off from Terminal 2, Terminal 4 that's going to be heard with regard to planes. This is the entity engaging what is the purpose of a fake sun, stalking with light by a population that's all monitoring together. And this is exposing what is mental illness amongst those that are associated with the police department, so-called EMTs, so-called pilots, so-called police officers, and the demon-possessed that is a mentally ill, that is a corrupt population. That's the same pattern of conduct while the entity is covering up the fake sun. It's currently 9:39 a.m. That is the Ontario International Airport engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder while they're gang stalking the City of Ontario. The City of Ontario that's referring to the municipal code as they conduct a kidnapping while they're engaging in criminal surveillance under Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. Craig Hazelwood and Owens are going to federal prison amongst the people of the state that engage in criminal summoning with that entity. P.O.C. P.O.C. Ontario Fire and AMR engaged in surveillance, stalking with light activity. And as you can hear, the plane activity. This is mental illness. Michael GERKEN, extraordinarily mentally ill and corrupt, co-conspirator of murder. This is psychopathic pacing while you're engaged in psychopathic conduct, stalking with light, doing so under the guise of providing emergency services, and all you're doing is stalking one person at that. A lot of resources criminally expended, which is again the removal of Paul Leon, which is again axiomatic. Demons that are stalking in ambulances, a threat to the public, while their mental illness is a direct bar to having any position in the medical field. And the mentally ill that are stalking in planes, not only are there no takeoffs or landings over here, the ongoing frequency of that flight, speaking to very bizarre mentally deranged behavior. The entities driving in and out of the parking garage, it's the same psychopathic pacing while they're crossing path with me, stalking by the airport, crossing path with me, driving on what is, this is C Street right here where the fake sun rises and sets, crossing path with me. They're monitoring inside of the bank, they're monitoring inside of the apartment, they're monitoring at the town square. This is relevant positioning. This is the terrorist that's heavily documented already, gang stalker, that's engaged in serial monitoring at the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity's engaged in that P.O.C. It is currently, by the way, 9:42 a.m., where the evidence is already on the record that the entity is maintaining what is stalking with light via a fake sun. Michael GERKEN is severely mentally ill, and this department and AMR have committed kidnappings with the Ontario Police as well. They are being removed from position. Alrighty, that's P.O.C. It is currently 9:43 a.m. All right, the people of the state monitoring with the City of Ontario in furtherance of murder, engaging in the psychopathic pacing, stalking with light, doing so as a corrupt population, adding what is evidence against one another. The same exact elements of monitoring, the same exact crime scene, while the demon-possessed exhibit their mental illness that is wearing it on the outside. This is the absurdity of psychopaths being engaged in firefighting, the absurdity of the certifiable conduct of stalking with light and stalking, period. Stalking while you're operating an ambulance and being in the medical field. The demon-possessed American medical response personnel who have been documented terrorists for years, gang stalking with the people of the state. Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments license TEENONI 7YNY765 9VCP 803 9PKP 750 7XKS 480. Hear the evidence against them. Gang stalker from OVITT, license 6BNU400, that's the African American male. In operation of her device, license plate. And this impunity is directly relevant to all the policies that apply prosecuting terrorists. 9NXE768, 7HSP508. By the way, no planes taken off from the airport are sounding any plane activity inside of a parking garage at 320 North Euclid Avenue. That's the entity that's creating audible activity while they're stalking as a fire department and ambulatory services that are engaged in actually criminal monitoring and furtherance of murder, and not ambulatory services, and they are gang stalking with the people of the state at the 280 North Limit Apartments that have the fake sun over that apartment building at 838, where the Ontario Police are engaged in criminal summoning, and also at 4 p.m., where this entity, the people of the state, are gang stalking, such as the fake sun reflecting off of that same apartment building where the people of the state, Amazon Prime, are gang stalking via delivery. That's public corruption. This is all the evidence that surrounds the entity, while the airport, that airport that is engaging in what is criminal conduct and furtherance of murder, and every airline is thus engaging in that as well, and they will be subject to that prosecution for terrorism. Conspiring by murder and failing in that endeavor means I'm going to prosecute you. I'm going to be alive and well, and I'm going to be prosecuting you in civil and criminal court. 7DSM698, license plate 12519H2, pacing into the entrance. Fontana Police are, but 8LES597 is a gang stalking employee with the OVITT Family Community Library, by the way, and she's also monitoring with the AMR and Ontario Fire and the Ontario International Airport, the City of Ontario, in other words. License 9PGY038. Pacing up and down through the parking garage that I've already documented has engineer light all over the ceiling. All right, pacing all around. These are roaches stalking. License 6SJG770. It's P.O.C. Sarah's Regis Group is sharing in that criminal conspiracy to commit murder, gang stalking and furtherance of murder with the City of Ontario, and that are the people of the state. So Sarah's Regis Group's employees, Sarah's Regis Group's residents who are admittedly engaging in that pattern of conduct by virtue of a transaction of being a resident at the property. It's built into the pattern of conduct with regard to prosecution and documenting who they are and the ways in which they're going to be prosecuted as a community. That's gang stalking. The entity is engaged in this while the airport is serving to prosecute Sarah's Regis Group. There are no takeoffs. There's no flights that's going to occur, and it's occurring because Sarah's Regis Group is gang stalking. DJ65C39 paper plate. And EYB 9324, that's a Michigan plate, the white van that where my life is under threat, psychopaths pacing in and out of that vehicle all night, while the demons, who are the people of the state and the City of Ontario, keeping me under surveillance, stalking in a vehicle. The mental illness behind the criminal conduct is why you are subject to what is a federal prosecution as a government that's engaged in terrorism. It's so absurdly deranged. The government is terrorizing you just by virtue of that, by virtue of what's wrong with them. They're demons. 9AUA533, 9WEA830, 6HXU129, sitting in the vehicle like a stalker, like a kidnapper, with a cap on, covering up his face, stalking in the parking garage, which is criminal conduct that the City of Ontario sponsors. 7NEB110. P.O.C, American Medical Response in the Ontario Fire Department. Michael GERKEN has not been engaged in firefighting for years. He's engaged in multiple kidnappings with the Ontario Police. That fire department is being shut down. All right, this P.O.C, they're engaged in pacing outside of the entrance while AMR is maintaining light activity. This is mental illness, while criminal conduct is being exposed simultaneously, and they're doing so with the City of Ontario at the Ontario International Airport. P.O.C. And Sarah's Regis Group is just one example with regard to prosecuting every gang stalking business, not only in the city of Ontario, but the state of California. P.O.C, it's currently 9:50 a.m. All right, monitoring is American Medical Response, and that license plate is, let me get this demon, 7HZE617, stalking with the city of Ontario, American Medical Response specifically, and doing so in furtherance of murder, co-conspirator of murder. And mentally ill conduct. These are roaches, and they are all scattering, gang stalking under things like the fake sun during the day. Ontario Fire Department, American Medical Response are the means of light activity on a cloudy day, where the entity is engaged in the same criminal elements of monitoring. And by the way, the fake sun, that supernatural feature of the pattern of conduct, remains relevant. So you're looking at how are they doing it on a cloudy day, and this is how. And it's exposing the mentally ill that are going to be removed from the positions where they pose a threat to the public and themselves. Gang stalking fire departments, gang stalking ambulance services, gang stalking police departments, gang stalking airports. And you're wondering why they're flying into buildings and killing people. It's not because the engine detached from the plane, and that they were ignorant about that. These are psychopaths who are murderers. In the same way that you're looking at, or you listen to this video, and the Ontario Fire and AMR engaged in criminal summoning, very heavily documented pattern. The entity is doing the same thing when you're looking at the Ontario International Airport flying over this same apartment building. They're monitoring together. The plane activity over the senior citizen complex, they're monitoring together. The fire department, AMR, with the flashing lights and presence in the past, sounding their sirens, they're monitoring together. That's the entity that's engaged in public corruption, and the demon-possessed are not limited to some age restriction, and I showed that at Eldorado Gardens, where those old people that can't even walk around without a cane are gang stalking me and furtherance of murder, and LAPD is threatening my life all the same. 1730860, vehicle 523, Omnitrans, gang stalking with AMR. Wanted to get in on that threat toward my life, and that's fine, it's already noted. Everybody already knows that Omnitrans is engaged in terrorism, and doing so under the corrupt leadership of that domestic terrorist, Alan D. WAPNER. And that those are demons that threaten the public in maintaining the ability to operate public transportation. We're like demons operating commercial planes flying to buildings to kill people, demons operating public transportation, I want to be clear, intentionally killing themselves and harming as many other people as possible. The demons operating AMR is license 68703G4, and that is vehicle 1336. It's light activity. All right, it is P.O.C. And it is directly relevant that the entity is engaged in what is keeping a fake sun over me at this OVITT Family Community Library, where this is the pattern of conduct headquarters. All they're doing is stalking. The airport's operation, the fire department, the police's operation, every business, every person is maintaining a pattern of conduct centered on me. And because of that, you've centered it on the person that's prosecuting you. I have incinerated this criminal system. And not only that, they've all forfeited the positions that they have. You're not remaining as a so-called ambulance services or a fire department or a police department or an airport. ISH4X4, P.O.C. It is currently... That's the pathetic conduct of demons who are nothing other than cockroaches. What's going on at this same OVITT Family Community Library? The Ontario police flying in circles by helicopter. No one forgot that. This is the same exact pattern of conduct. They use fire trucks, police vehicles, helicopters, airplanes, ambulances. And the mentally ill, the people of the state, those that can't even afford a roof over their head, they're all pacing around me. You can't even pay rent somewhere, and you are up engaging in what is services to Satan, who is not providing you shelter, by the way. Not that there's any price that you should pay in order to serve Satan, because your soul is what you're forfeiting, but nonetheless, it's that pathetic. Okay, it's that deranged, it's that mentally ill. You're getting to the obsession, to the fact that you're using the Ontario City Hall to engage in what is monitoring my vagina. You're climbing into planes, spending thousands of dollars just to crank up a plane, just to use a helicopter costs a lot of money. And remember, they've been engaging in this for years. This entity has spent millions of dollars in keeping me under surveillance, all for what? And you're going to prison now, right? And people know your name, and everyone's going to forever associate your obsession with my vagina, Erica Lorraine Spencer. And don't you ever forget it. You wanted to monitor? Everybody knows what you're obsessed with. Everybody knows also who prosecuted you, and everybody knows the extent to which you went and traveled in order to do so, which speaks volumes about what's wrong with you. You being a whole population, there is no day or time of year where you can cover up that fake sun that's already on the record. Everybody already sees your mental illness. It's on the outside. And so then you roll up in a fire truck, in an ambulance, speaking to what I stated a long time ago. Michael Gerken is severely mentally ill, and every demon with that fire department. What are they doing? They're going around in circles over and over. That's what they're doing in planes and helicopters. They're psychos, and they are not only going to be killing and harming each other. This is a threat, a national security threat with regard to unsuspecting American citizens who were in the position that I formerly was in. This is what you need to be aware of. You're going to watch the city of Ontario be gutted out. You're going to watch me prosecute the U.S. government. But you need to be aware of what Satan is doing, and Satan humiliates those that bow down to him. He doesn't have any friends, and that's also what you should be picking up. He literally embarrassed his own employees. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10 a.m. on the dot, where the entity is covering up the fake sun, which is already on the record at the OVITT Family Community Library, where they are going to prison for kidnapping with the same exact city of Ontario. A whole bunch of desperate vagina monitors who are willing to face a federal case for terrorism just to be in my presence. P.O.C. Hi, Gregory. Is that you, Kelly? Hi, Kelly. How are you? Hey, Brianna. Good morning, Yesenia. How are you? Those are demons that are gang stalking. Psychopaths, with vagina monitors, homosexual predators. POC. Hi, Yesenia. How are you? Oh, by the way, it is Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. This is